Yes. Right. Okay, thanks. Bye. Admission for 2 most graduate schools accepted the career. Hi, I'm going live in 6 minutes. Can you do me a favor and just put a note outside of the door? Like in big caps, I'll put it. Here, if you want to use a marker. Are you going home? Okay, thanks. Thank you. They're probably going to come in for their clothes. This is one of the kids' shirts. You know the kid that's who's manning the scoreboard? He's the one with the glasses, a little bit of a goatee. One of the volunteers. Should I put a chair? That looks really bad. Perfect. Good idea. हाय, बस मैं आ रही हूँ थोड़ी देर में. अभी बस आ रहा है ना, because next presentation is mine. हाँ, and then I'll be talking. Yeah. And it should say GRE, it should say next session GRE versus GMAT or something. Okay, bye. Hello, welcome everyone. I will be discussing, of course, the difference between GRE and GMAT. Let me just first go over the objectives for today's presentation. Why take GRE or GMAT? What is the format for each of those tests? Scoring, cost, time, validity of the test, preparation needed for the test, the common myths that you must have heard of, tips on what not to do. I'll start off with first discussing the GRE, which is also known as the Graduate Record Examination Test. It's basically required for admission to most grad schools in the U.S. It's now accepted at several business schools in place of GMAT, so that's good news for those who are applying for business schools. And you can register at www.ets.org. And the GRE measures your verbal, quantitative, reasoning, and writing skills. The format for the GRE is that it's offered both as paper-based and computer adaptive tests. And for paper-based, it is available up to 3 times per year. You're able to take the paper-based test, and for computer adaptive test is offered year-round in most locations around the world. The format for the test includes 75-minute analytical section with 2 essays, 2 30-minute verbal sections, 2 35-minute quantitative sections, 30-minute experimental section that can be either math or verbal. Here's the score. Basically, the score range is between 130 to 170, and it is on 1-point increments that you are scored. The cost for the test is $195 US dollars, and the testing time is 3+ hours, about 3.5 hours to take the complete test. And of course, it's valid for 5 years. So you can apply to as many universities in the meantime as you'd like. Average GRE score that's reported by ETS is listed here based on the subjects or programs that you're planning on applying to. However, the average score for verbal is 150, math 151. That is usually the average score. About 302 would be the total GRE score. And now I'm going to move on to GMAT, which is also known as the Graduate Management Admission Test, required for most business schools in the U.S. You can register for that at www.mba.com, and it also measures your verbal, quantitative, reasoning, and writing skills. And it's only offered as on the computer, so just keep that in mind when you are registering. And also, it consists of 30-minute analytical section with one essay, 30-minute integrated reasoning section, 75-minute quantitative section, and 75-minute verbal section. The GMAT score, overall or composite, ranges between 200 to 800 at 10-point increments. The cost for GMAT is higher than the GRE. It's $250 US. Testing time is about 3.5 hours, and the validity again is 5 years for this test as well. And how to prepare. There's several ways to prepare, obviously. You can get in touch with one of your local Education USA advising centers. They're globally available to you, and so you can definitely find out if they are offering any kind of prep classes for you. And also you can also go on online and attend any online courses. Princeton Review and Kaplan both offer online courses. There's online group courses as well, and of course you've got the books that are readily available at most all bookstores around the world. And those also consist of, there's a variety of different companies that offer the prep books, so, Princeton Review and Kaplan also have those. All right, now I'm just going to talk about the GRE and GMAT myths. One of the myths is GRE scores are not as important as your personal statement. Well, actually, and your relationships with the faculty members and prospective schools. Actually, the poor GREs can seriously hurt your chances for admission. In addition, GRE scores are an important factor when it comes to awarding teaching and research assistantships and merit-based financial aid. So that's definitely something to keep in mind, because I know we're all looking for financial aid as much as possible. Myth number 2 here states GRE tests are a test complex math concepts. Actually, you test based on your concepts that you've learned in 7th and 8th grade. So you won't see any calculus or trigonometry. Let's move on to number 3. You can hone a number of skills to improve your math score, but you can't really raise your verbal score. Verbal scores can be improved by any student as long as you're willing to do so. Myth number 4, test prep is really just about taking practice tests. If I take enough practice tests, my scores will go up. In order to improve your score, you have to change the way you take the test. This means that you're learning new techniques and practicing them until they become a habit. Let's move on to myth number 5. All test prep is the same. It's really just about practice. No, actually not. Taking a standardized test is a skill, and mastering that skill requires the right tools, the right coaching, and lots of practice. If you're going to pay for the test prep, look at authentic adaptive tests that are available, extensive use of electronic tools that are both outside and inside the classroom, lots of practice questions. I hate to break that to you. One-on-one review of your practice test performance. So those are all, important for you to practice, and it is important to practice. I'm now going to discuss the tips on what not to do. I know we tend to get very confident on our skills and tend to get overconfident. So I'm just going to discuss those briefly. So, be forewarned that there are many smart grad school candidates out there who are taking GRE very seriously, and so should you. So number 1, overconfidence in your test taking abilities. Please just make sure that you're not too overconfident. Overemphasis on certain testing areas at the expense of others. So even if a particular program that interests you most doesn't require an especially high score, in your weakest area, you should hedge your bets and be prepared, and by preparing diligently for every portion of the exam. Number 3, obsessing over troublesome practice test questions. Obsessing over a particular practice test question won't, that probably would not appear on your real GRE, is counterproductive. Number 4, undue emphasis on practice test scores. It pretty much is very self-explanatory. GRE or GMAT burnout, over preparation. We all tend to do that. And of course, don't drag your prep by starting several months in advance or by postponing the exam to give yourself more time than you really need for preparation. Unrealistic expectations. Every individual is constrained by his or her own innate potential. So top GRE scores are not simply within the reach for most test takers. Please keep that in mind and accept this fact, and that in turn will help you focus on performing as well as you reasonably can expect for yourself. Number 7, not taking essays seriously enough. I know that a lot of times on the university websites, mainly, they list the GRE quantitative or verbal scores, but just to remember that highest ranked programs to which you might gain admission is one at which you're a borderline candidate. For example, if you tend to be a borderline candidate, they will, consider your analytical writing and your essay and determine whether you would be admitted into the university or not. Number 8, insufficient practice under exam conditions. Condition yourself to go the distance by taking at least 2 or 3 full-length tests straight through with only a few short breaks. This will help you practice and be a little bit more aware of the time when it comes to the actual test or the day of the test. Fatalistic thinking. Many test takers tell themselves, I'll give it one shot, and if I do poorly, I'll just forget the whole idea of grad school altogether. Probably not a good idea. Don't do this. Self-defeating thinking can definitely, not be beneficial. So if you have time and can afford it, register yourself and take the GRE once as a dress rehearsal, and just make sure that you're that helps you, be comfortable in the environment and also with the test, and of course, the testing environment. Lastly, taking the GRE too late. This actually too late to retake it, rather. Admissions deadlines vary for all universities, but find out the earliest deadline that you need to apply. And once you do, schedule your GRE test date early enough so that you can retake the test and still meet that deadline. And here I'm just going to mention what the requirements are. You are able to test within 21 days of your initial test that you've taken. And you're also able to take your test three times in the total of 12 months. So that's really good news for the fact that you are able to retake it. And that's basically the entire presentation that I have for you. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll be happy to go over those with you. Okay, I do have a question here. What do you mean by undue emphasis on practice test scores? You don't want to burn yourself out. I mean, as far as the testing itself goes, of course you don't want to, you should definitely practice, but just don't overdo it, because then of course when it comes to taking the test, you will be, it will be a little bit difficult. Let's see, I have another question. I'm just reviewing the questions. Fee for the GRE, it is $195 US. The question was, what was the fee for GRE? And that's $195 US. I have a few questions about scholarship funds and financial aid. I would definitely recommend that you contact the universities and find out what kind of financial aid package they have, especially for the international students. Also get in touch with one of your Education USA advisors within your within the area you live in. We have, offices globally available to you. So definitely, you can go on to our website, www.educationusa.info, and you can find out the information on tests. You can make an appointment with an advisor and meet with them and discuss your application process and also financial aid scholarships. I have another question. If my GRE validity is over, do I have to take it again in case it is required by the institutions? GRE requirement, GRE validity is for 5 years, and if it is over, yes, you must retake it. Because if you've passed the 5 years and you've not applied, yes, to grad school, yes, you must retake that. There's a question about giving GRE and subject GRE for PhD in chemistry in the U.S. You can look at the requirements from that university, and more than likely, yes, you will need to take the subject test, but it kind of varies based on the university. So the institution you're applying to, make sure that you confirm with them whether you need to take the subject test or not. There is a question about TOEFL exam. I believe that was covered in the last presentation right before mine, and I would encourage you to get online and look at information with one of your Education USA advisors or advising centers. There's a question about minimum requirement for GRE score. Like I said, the average GRE score is between 302. So it basically varies on. It depends on the program you're applying to. It depends on the type of university you're applying to, whether it's a high-ranking university or not. So it really depends on the university. But overall, of course, you have to make sure that you at least meet the average, or at least have the average score to apply. There's another question about GMAT score as well. That's basically the same question, but I will go ahead and put up one of the slides in case you missed that. I will go ahead and put the average scores so that you all can review those. I think it seems to be the popular question. There's a question on which test do you recommend for me if I want to enroll in universities that are in Australia. I'm sorry, I can't answer for Australia. I can talk about the U.S. universities. As far as scholarships go, I see a lot of questions regarding are there scholarships available? Yes, scholarships are available. You must get in touch with the university, find out what their, a lot of times most of the information is listed on the website. Also, I would highly encourage you to visit our website and go under Education USA website, which is www.educationusa.info, and definitely check on there for the funding availability. There's a question: does Education USA cover the university fee and scholarship? Are we forced to pay? There is funding available, like I said, for international students, and there's also application fee that's required for you to apply. So you will be required to pay that unless there is unless your Education USA advisor is able to provide you with the fee waiver. I have a question that somebody wants to take admission in biology and whether they should take GRE test or GRE subject test. It definitely increases your chances when you are taking the GRE subject test. Some universities do require that you take the GRE subject test, and some universities may not have that requirement. So, of course, it always plays in your benefit, but it's up to you, and just make sure that universities that you're applying to have that requirement. Okay, there's a question about, does USA offer jobs for the best international students? You have the option for graduate school to be to be part of the assistantship program, and you are allowed to work a specific number of hours, and that helps pay for your works towards your tuition. So you're able to get some kind of financial difference based on that. So definitely you can do college. You can work on campus and get some money off waived for your tuition. I have a question regarding, let's see, the Ivy League schools. Of course, we all wish we could be in the Ivy League schools. You can definitely, yes, of course, there is, the requirement for the testing is higher, and you want to make sure that you meet the requirements. Just make sure you review their average scores online. And you want to make sure that you're looking at the universities that are able to get you admitted. You do not want to, if you're not, if you know yourself you're not the greatest student, then just make sure that you're applying to programs that you will definitely be able to get into. I believe there's another question. Let me just double check. There's a question: I will appear for GMAT next month. Can you please tell me what areas I have to cover? I'll just go ahead and put up the slide for GMAT. The format for GMAT is, of course, It is computer adaptive test, 30-minute analytical section with one essay, 30-minute integrated reasoning section, 75-minute quantitative section, 75-minute verbal section. Could I ask the audience if there are any specific questions regarding GRE and GMAT? As that's what my presentation was about. There's a question about what is the difference between GRE paper-based test and GRE computer tests. For paper-based tests, do I have to take some special measures? Does it differ in cost? For paper-based, of course, like you have the option, it's really your own preference. If you feel more comfortable doing a paper test versus computer-based test, what I would recommend to you is to get on to the ETS's website, which is www.ets.org. Once again, it's www.ets.org. And register on there. Actually, you can review all the questions, the differences between, and it goes in a little bit further detail on paper-based versus computer test. Are there any other questions about GRE? Okay, I think that pretty much wraps up the presentation. If you have any further questions, please feel free to log on to www.ets.org for GRE. And for GMAT, it's www.mba.com. And I hope that you all will look at the different requirements for the test and make sure that you practice as much as you can, but not necessarily, over practice. So thank you very much. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of our, thank you for logging on to the College Week's virtual fair, and we will continue with the next presentation shortly. Thank you.